Welcome, architects, to a new episode of Conversations with Coach Kevin. I'm your host, Coach Kevin, and we have an amazing show today. My intentions for the show is to inspire, educate, and empower Black people to do, most people to do the best life, mind, body, and spirit. And with that being said, I have an amazing host today, and I want to bring him on right now. What's up, sir? How you doing?
Hello, sir. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. So, welcome to the show. So, it's Conversations with Coach Kevin. And the reason why I did the show is to inspire, educate, and empower people to be the best version of themselves, mind, body, and spirit. But more importantly, I feel like mainstream media does a disservice to Black men. We only see Black men being rappers or athletes. There's nothing wrong with that, but or as a whole nother negative aspect to us. But they don't see people like you, and they don't see that work that you do in the community. I titled this show "The Resurrection," and it's the resurrection because we both went to the same high school, and you end up going to college, become an educator. Now you're a superintendent, and you came back to our school, and you have resurrected our school back to greatness. And so we want to talk about that. We want to talk about your journey, so you can inspire some Black men who's trying to find their way, um, give them some hope of what they can be. And just because they're 20 or 30, it doesn't mean it's too late for them to become who you have become. How that sound, sir?
It sounds great. I am very pleased and blessed to have this opportunity to talk to you. Again, like you said, I think we did go to elementary school together all the way through
Yeah,
Westwood to Randallwood. So it's very good to see you and speak to you, and this opportunity is a blessing for me.
appreciate it. So, for those who don't know you, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how you become this great superintendent that you are.
Well, my name is Donald Jolly. The honor to serve as the superintendent of the Warrensville Heights City Schools located in Warrensville Heights, Ohio, which is southeastern side of Cleveland, Ohio. Um, I am a product of the school district, a product of the city. I had the opportunity once I left Warrensville Heights to go to college at Morris Brown College in Atlanta, Georgia, where I learned my craft of being an educator, a teacher, um, to care, to nourish, to have high expectations from the great professors at Morris Brown. And then I was able to come back to Cleveland where I was able to serve as a teacher, principal, assistant principal, um, and a assistant superintendent in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. And then I had the opportunity to come back to Warrensville to serve as the superintendent. So, my journey has been one is that I always knew I wanted to be an educator. My roots started with actually a teacher, Mr. Al Patillo at Westwood Elementary
Yeah,
School, who I thought was one of the greatest people in the world. At first, it was just because he used to come outside and play football at recess. I thought, man, I want to be Mr. Patillo. Mr. Patillo also wears a tie every day to work. Where he wore a tie. He was always neat and clean. He was very stern. He taught reading, so he was my reading teacher in fourth grade. And I just looked at him, coming from a working class community. My father's a mailman. I didn't really see a lot of professional guys like him. I saw workers, but to see him and one of the things I loved was playing sports, and he was actively engaged in the sports, and then his sternness and making sure we knew how to read. I always wanted to be him, so he kind of fueled my drive to be an educator and to try to give back and be Mr. Patillo to all the young people that God has blessed me to be able to touch.
okay. One thing I did not know is that you went to Morris Brown. So that's funny. So now you went to Morris Brown and was down here to Atlanta. Now you back in Cleveland. Now I'm down here in Atlanta. That's crazy. We're both doing great things back in the ATL and in Cleveland. My question to you is, with the plight of the black men, because I coach a lot of black men, um, and the lack of the father figure in the households, how important is it for the kids that you are with at your school system to see a you? Because a lot of them are not seeing you in the household. So how important is that to you?
So I think it's very important that our young people see positive role models, especially African American male role models. I think, and just looking back at as we grew up, there was
Mhm.
always prominent men that were in the community. You had the Stanley Millers, you had Darnell Robinsons, you had William McDonald's, you had all these. They were our friends' parents, but they were
Yeah.
there and present. I think over the last 30 years, those type of men don't live here anymore. They've moved away, and and now we have a lot of single family homes. We have a lot of young men being raised by grandparents and their moms. I think it's so crucial to have African American males presence. I think just like Mr. Patillo was for me, I think that my presence and the presence of others can provide that motivation of showing that, hey, if you that you can be anything you want to be, you can achieve anything you want to achieve. I think my presence also, because I'm in with the children every day. I go see the children, I touch the children, I talk to the children,
Mhm.
I hear the children, and one of my drives is to make sure that these children have way more opportunities and exposure than we did growing up. So some opportunities currently right now, our band is at the Mardi Gras. We got a group of kids that's going to Washington, D.C. on Thursday. We got an HBCU tour. Um, I try to provide opportunities and exposure for our students that's far beyond what they would normally get. And some of these exposures, sometimes, a family will provide it, but we as the school district has um, adopted that role as the I don't want to say the parent but we substitute opportunities and exposure that a lot of times a lot of families have. What makes it special for me is that I came from here and I know what was
Mhm.
missing. I know the things that we didn't have. So I try to supplement those things and provide that. I think also in carrying the way I carry myself, way my expectations for myself and the ability to always start a day fresh. Hey, regardless of what happened yesterday, we're gonna start a new day, and we're gonna give you this opportunity to correct it. We're gonna talk to you. We're gonna try to guide you through whatever the situation is. We're gonna hold you accountable. But at the end of the day, we all here for your success and creating an organization that's focused on student success and not adults. I think has been very beneficial. And as being an African American man with the opportunity to lead an organization is a blessing in itself because the tone that you said is the tone of the organization. And if I
Absolutely.
have one that cares and one that holds people accountable to caring, the rest of the organization will do the same. So I think that's the blessing with me being in this position is that from being from here, being a person who understands and know that you have to see it. Sometimes you got to see it and touch it to know it's possible. And then me dedicating, committing all my work to making sure our kids have these opportunities is what makes this special. And then also provides the motivation for I hope the motivation for our young people to continue to strive and be successful.
I like that. Was it intentional? I know the answer, but was it intentional for you to recruit as many former Warrensville Heights Tigers to come back to the school system and help teach and motivate
Yeah,
the kids?
yeah. So yeah, from my experiences, people who have a stake in something care more. And they're willing
Right.
to go above and beyond the call of duty. What I found is that our graduates, people from this community, care about this community. They
Mhm.
know the parents, they know what we experience, and they have high expectations for success. When you're dealing with children, It's so important that people have a stake in it, that they can see themselves in those children and they can see their own children in those children. And when you have that type of environment, and especially with our African American children, who sometimes come challenged, sometimes come angry, sometimes come with abandonment issues, all type of different things that they face, you got to have people who care and people who have a stake in it. And I find that our alumni, our graduates, for the most part, are some of those people who come back and want to give back just like me or more, and have that um, have a stake in the outcome, not just in our students, but in the community also. And they're determined not to let our students fail. So that has been a strategy to bring back our own. And it's simply because we know our own is going to care. Now, there's a lot of other people that care in this world, and we embrace them and take them too. But those ones that are tigers is a little special connection with our students.
That's true. Um, for the listeners to understand the what you have achieved in the short period of time is when you took over, we were at like a F
Mhm.
grade, and now we are at a B.
So we like a C plus at this time. That's been a journey though, because when I got the job, I didn't know that the district was almost at state takeover. So immediately we were under the gun because if we didn't improve our grades in the year, then we were been taken over by the state. One of our a district close to us, East Cleveland, and us were in the same position. And we immediately did what we had to do to not be taken over. And East Cleveland was, and then also in that process of trying not to get took over by the state, we were in buildings that were falling apart. The old buildings like Westwood, Eastwood, John Dewey, were the same exact buildings that I went to, you went to in the past, falling apart. Randallwood was falling apart, wasn't even open. So we were trying to educate 21st century students in 19th century buildings. Again, the environment, the climate was not conducive for learning. So in this journey, we had to improve our academic performance immediately while trying to improve the environment so that it's a place where there was no air conditioning in our elementary schools. You know, bugs was coming in the windows because the windows were old and they just had to be open and it was hot. We had to import water into the schools so that they have fresh water. These are all things that we did. And eventually we put air conditioning in Westwood, put air conditioning in Eastwood and John Dewey, even the middle school, um, to improve the conditions while improving our academics. And in improving our academics, we set out a robust school improvement plan where we know where every child is. We test our students, we know where they are, we provide intervention and support um, on time and frequent. And we were able to raise our grades going from an F to a C in 2.5 years. It was great work of a great team. Our motto, one team, one vision, one goal, drove this success. And I could talk about it all day of all the details that went into it. But in this whole process, we were on state assistance. We don't have state assistance anymore, state intervention. We built over $120 million worth of new facilities in the city. And as you know, Mr. Thornton, the city is not a rich city. It is a lower middle class city. But our citizens trusted us, put all their trust in us. And 9 years later, we are we don't have any state assistance, nowhere near any state takeover. Premier school district in Northeast Ohio, all brand new schools, and our scholars are going into the world making a difference.
I like that. And I think for me, the reason I had to have you on here is because, for one, I want the listeners to see a black man, a strong black man, an intelligent black man who is taking the leadership role and took them from where they were to the greatness they are at right now. Because a lot of times people look at us that we can't do anything like that. And I want to show the world that it's possible. I also wanted to do it too because, I can't get back home like I used to. So I can't always be there to give you your flowers in person. So I want to also give your flowers on here because, my dad and your dad knew each other back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad is like super proud of you. You might not even know this.
That means a lot.
When I talk to him on the phone, uh, you can hear the sense of pride he has in you because especially the fact that he knew your dad and he knew what type of man your dad was, and to see what you have become, it's just a representation of how they grew up
Mm-hmm.
and what they did to invest in you and I to become the men that we become. And so I want you to know that it does not go unrecognized what you have done, who you have become, because all the parents of us are very proud of you. And it where we at right now at high school could have not happened to a much better person.
Man, that means a lot to me. I feel indebted to our parents and the generation before us because I just think about the way we grew up. It was
Hmm.
such an awesome time to live in this city, to have your friends all over, and you ain't have a lot of money, but you didn't even know about. You didn't even know you didn't have a lot of money. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It was just friendship, it's love. We grew up. I felt we grew up in a place I never felt dumb. I never felt
No.
stupid. I never felt like I couldn't do it. Um, and that feeling was something that I took with me the rest of my life. And I owe it to our elders, your dad, my dad, all the parents of that time. Because if you know the history of our city, they were like the first generation black people in Warrensville. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So they created the culture in that environment because the generation before them, the group before them left and they
Right.
left it to them. And, the little league baseball, the rec
Yeah.
basketball, all the activities that we had growing up, all those things shaped me into who I am and shaped all countless others, Manny, Emmanuel Glover. We could name so many people from this
Yeah.
community that's going on and doing so much great things. And I attribute it to our elders who moved here and made sure that we had the resources, the support, the education we needed to go conquer the world. So that and I know I'm talking to, friends, no one left here feeling like they was dumb. No one
Mhm.
left here and said I can't do it. When people met opposition, we had the foundation. I attribute that to Westwood. We all knew how to read, we knew how to write,
Yeah.
we knew how to think critically. And when it got tough, we had a foundation to lean on to figure it out and keep going. And that's all I give all accolades and all credit of anything I've done to the elders because they paved the way and provided me and countless others of our generation um, the love and support we needed to be successful. And all I'm trying to do is pay it back to the next group who don't have the same type of people
Right.
that live here anymore. So I'm here, and God willing, to try to continue that historical pathway of an African American community who produces the best and brightest that go into the world and be successful. That's don't happen a lot, especially up
Right.
here in the north where you got a whole community. And I also, this journey has been partners, great partners in this journey. The city of Warrensville, on the city of Hiding Hills, of North Randall, um, but in particularly Warrensville and the Mayor Brad Sellers,
Mhm.
who has partnered with this school district, who has this similar feelings about the school district as I do. He went to the NBA, left, and he
Mhm.
came back to lead the city and to
Yeah.
see where the city was 20 years ago and to see today. It's just a micronism
Yeah.
of the people who came from here. Some of us came back because this place was very, very good to us, and we just want to
Right.
make it a better place.
And it's funny you said that because that's part of my dad's conversation. He says that the best thing that Warrensville did is went back and got their own. They got you. they got Brad Sellers to come back and be the mayor, and all of it, like you said, all of y'all grew up there. So you all want it to be a success. And so not just like how Warrensville, the school system is now this great school system that everybody wants to come back to again, but now Warrensville itself as a city is a place not everybody want to come back to again too, because now it's starting to flourish again. Everybody's building new places there. The economy is growing there, and so it for us as our primarily African American city suburb to see this growth, to see this greatness, it really shows what is possible.
And I totally agree with you, because I think a lot of times people don't understand the economics of schools in the city. If you don't have quality schools, you're not gonna have a quality city. And most
Right.
of the time, when you have African American citizenry, you don't have quality schools. I mean, and then who wants to invest in a community that the workers can't send the kids to? So, part of our collaboration is to ensure that our schools are quality, our kids got the opportunities, and with that, businesses come. And when businesses come, that's more revenue for the schools. And with that revenue for the schools, we're able to do more for our students. So it goes hand in hand. Um, the collaboration with the city attracting new businesses, and then us as the district doing our part, making sure that we have quality education. We have programs. We even have a restaurant in our new high school. We got firefighters in our new high school, just offering a variety of programs that the city helps us support, um, to make this a place that people want to be. And I think that combination has been what's been so rewarding for us here.
Well, I want to ask you, because you just got said that I saw you at the restaurant, and I see you have like is it like a culinary program you got now at Warrensville?
Yeah, we got culinary, yes, sir.
Who was the brainchild of that? Because I
So,
think that should
mhm.
have been something we could have had back when we was in school.
Yeah, so what, and I'll say the blessing that I've had is to go to Atlanta for school, to
Hmm.
see different places, work in Cleveland Metropolitan School District for 18 years, and to travel the world and see different places. Um, and to realize that in order to keep students engaged, you got to have multiple programs. You can't just expect everybody to go to school. We are part of a consortium with Cleveland Heights, Maple Heights, Bedford, and Shaker. And in this consortium, every school houses different career tech opportunities. Warrensville, we only hosted when I got here. We only hosted graphics. Back when we was in school, that was electronics. So we only
Right.
hosted graphics, and we didn't have any other career tech opportunities. Our kids had to leave our school to go to be part of these programs. And oftentimes, people didn't even promote the programs for our kids to be to participate in. A lot of these programs, and currently in our consortium, we got about 26 different programs. Kids, young people could go right from school to work. They're getting certifications and so forth. So one of the big pushes of in my return here is to push career tech education, because everybody's not going to college. And if we could provide our young people with a skill set that they could go directly from school to work, we could keep them in our community. They could have have high paying jobs and stay and continue to build our community up. What happened in our community, we had brain drain too in our community. And when I say brain drain, it got to a point where the houses were too small for people who were making higher incomes. We all lived in our house, but then when you make double the money, you didn't want to move back on Ingleside no more. But the community
Right.
didn't grow to build more houses. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that culinary was one that we felt our kids had interest in. We also brought in fire. So we have a fire academy at our school. Again, there's not a lot of Black firefighters. So we are producing a pipeline for Black firefighters in our district. We open biomedicine in our district. So this is like a pre-medical program so that our kids get college credits and they're able to advance. We have a health careers partnership with Tri-C, where our kids would take all the prerequisites for nursing at Warrensville and then get priority admittance into the nursing program. Next year, we're starting a nurse assistant program here in the district. So all of these programs are based upon, here in Warrensville, we got 2 major hospitals. We got Cleveland Clinic and University Hospital. I think we got like 5 nursing homes. All of them need nurses. Every last one of them need nurses. Our fire department need firefighters. All 5 of the communities that feed into our consortium need firefighters. We're going to feed them. So trying to create a pathway for our young people to go from Warrensville to work, if that's what they choose to do, or they go to college, but we want to have those opportunities. And if you look at affluent school districts and communities, career tech is big, and they have those pathways for their young people. And some reason in our communities, and it started when we went to school, they said everybody was going to college,
Right.
which is not the case.
It's not. So I know you are a spiritual guy as well. Can you take a moment just to talk to the men out there who are struggling, looking to find their way, trying to find who they can become, and speak some life into them, as I know you probably do every day?
Yeah. So I think as men, it's so important that we do acknowledge God in all that we do. I think, and I've learned this from my mother, that,
Mm.
you know, when you wake up in the morning, you hit your knees first and you pray and you ask God for guidance and you ask Him for protection. You ask Him to help you throughout the day. As an African American, as a Black man, you know that things are coming at you all the time. They're coming at you furious. And we don't have the power within to handle it. We get angry, we get mad, we go drink, we go smoke, and those things are destructive to us. One of my charges and goals is to help young people, men in general, is learn how to deal with adversity, because adversity is what derails us in this process of trying to become who we are. Because
Mhm.
there's a lot of obstacles that's always going to come in your way. It could be a girlfriend, it could be a person at the job, it could be
Yeah.
a friend, it could be a bad influence. So one of the things I always start with is you start with humbling yourself and giving yourself to God. And in doing that, you are providing yourself with the extra boost, that extra force that you need as soon as you step out and go to that job and people start talking to you, hating on you and saying all these things, that you're able to close your eyes and get that strength. Also, I tell any man or person that you got to be willing to do the work. A lot of times people want the prize without the work, you know,
Right.
and they look at you and look at me and say, well, I could be Kevin or I could be Donald, but they don't know the journey or willing to put in the work that it takes.
Right.
Now, having me available, you available, it'll be much easier for you, because guess what? I will help you, you'll help them in that
Mhm.
journey. Again, being humble on that journey, listening on that journey, knowing where your resource is on that journey for success. Also, with share with you, you got to surround yourself with good people. You have to surround yourself with good people.
Right.
And how do you know if a person is good? Well, you have to look at what positions people put you in. You know, a friend would never have you in a bad situation. A friend
Right.
won't bring you garbage and tell you what everybody said about you. A friend was always going to promote you and put you and try to put you in a good position. A friend gonna tell you the truth when you dead wrong, and a friend is always gonna have a helping hand out for you. I think a lot of men, um, number one, don't go to the source first. Number two, um, don't surround themselves with good people. Number three, they want it quick and fast, and nothing comes quick and fast is worth anything. And number four, they are easily distracted by pleasure. You know, they want to do what's feel good all the time. You know, instead of knowing that it takes discipline and sacrifice to be successful. So in a nutshell, I think it's my journey. I got a 13-year-old son now, and I'm working on him to understand that you got to go to the source first.
Right.
You got to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined. What is expected from you at the job? What is expected for you at work? Learning the rules of engagement. What are the rules of engagement? Because the rules don't change for you. You have to learn to adapt to the rules in order to play in the game, or they're gonna knock you out the game. That's where the haters come. That's where the opposition is, because people really don't want you there. So unless you are able to identify what the rules of engagement are, and that's where the source comes sometimes, because you just can't figure it out. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then that source will give you some insights, because he might bring a person or a wise person in your presence to say, hey, you need to look at this, you need to do that. And you got to be willing to work. You know, it's not a 9 to 5, it's not a 10 to 6, it's when the job done. And if you are disciplined to work to the job done, you will see. And our last thing I want to say is set up yourself for small successes a day, every day.
Yep.
I would highly suggest every morning you write a list out of 15 things. As you complete them, you can say, tie my shoe. As you complete it, that's one success of that day. That's going to help build that your internal fortitude. You know, make this call. You did it. I got 2 successes today. Before you know it, you got 25 successes in a day. Your internal drive is fueled, and then you continue on that journey. So those are just some things I would say, because your past is your past. Whatever your past is, every day is a new day. And if you start the new day and you have that discipline, you go to God and you work, you can achieve anything. And I truly believe that.
I agree with everything you said, especially the fact that you got to surround yourself with people that's it's in alignment with what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go. And a lot of times, I think for us, we were fortunate enough that a lot of people we were friends with in high school are going along the same level as we are. But you know, there's sometimes you got some ones that are not, and you just gotta learn how to love them from a distance, because you can't pull them up with you, but they can pull you down with them. And so you just gotta understand, you know, everybody can't go with you in your journey. Those that can meant to be with you, you know, and it is what it is. And so for me, you know, how I know you say you got some things going on with, like, for black men or young men. How can I offer services for you to help you in your journey to help others in the Ohio area?
Well, man, I think your wisdom and knowledge would be so important. I got a staff of people here, some African American men and others, who could really benefit, you know, just from this conversation. You know, when you get to a certain point in life, there's really nobody you can talk to, or very few people who can actually understand where you are or where you're going. I think I would definitely love to talk to you about some consulting in helping some of our younger teachers and administrators in their journey. You know,
Okay.
it's only one of me, but I got 10 of them, you know, who
Right.
everybody connects different with different people.
Mhm.
Everybody's ear is different with different people, but who I know have potential for greatness, but might be lacking some some essential skills or mindsets that will prohibit them from growing as fast as they should. And then when I look at some of our seniors and juniors in high school, some of them have never had a conversation with a wise man. That is, and it kind of alarming to me sometimes,
Yeah.
because when you sit down and you talk to them, you know, they're open to hearing it, but they've never had a man
They
sit
never
down
had.
with sense and tell them the truth. That
It is funny you said that because a lot of times, Jolly, when people find me in different directories and they ask to, pay for me to coach them, the main reason why they chose me outside of my skills and talents is that they feel that based on my pictures, I look like I'd be a good dad.
mhm, 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 mhm.
And so then as I talk to them and get to know them, it goes from, you know, coach to client to where they start to look at me more as a father figure because like you said, they never had a conversation with a elder person who, whose whole intention is to make them be better.
And I think that's the most important thing. A lot of times they deal with men who want their mothers for the wrong reasons and talk to them, don't instill life in them at all. Basically
Mhm,
tell them garbage. And um and it's grown men 30 years old, like we
mhm,
said, who never had a man tell them the truth and
yeah,
articulate to them the essential things that's needed. I was blessed to have a man love me unconditionally, which is my father,
mhm,
would tell me the truth, good or bad, didn't care what I thought about it. Um,
mhm,
but that helped me so much because
mhm,
I'm able to hear and listen and accept
yeah,
the truth. Where
right. And it's funny you said that's because we both were raised by men who took being a father very seriously. And they, regardless of the fact of me being 52, he still takes the time to pour into me, pour into my brother, and we grown men. And, I just think, these, I've always grown up believing what you see is what you be.
mhm, mhm.
So therefore, if young men is in an environment where they don't see male figure, all they're going to imitate is what they see in their moms. And
Right,
so that's
or,
part of the
or
problem.
worse, yeah, or worse. That's why they don't treat. Or I see a lot of young men over emotional with young ladies. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mhm.
why they beating them up and all that because they don't know how to handle their emotion because they see their
Yeah,
brother go crazy, go mad. They do the same thing, but you're a man. You end up in jail when you do that.
right,
So you can't do that. You got to know how to modulate your emotions. You got to know how to let go. Let go. You got to know how to let go and let God. You got to know how to walk away. These are things
right,
my father shared with me. I remember I was dating a young lady, and my father was like, "Man, you better stop crying. You better stop crying and keep moving."
right,
That I didn't want to hear that at the time. I mean, it was
right.
painful, but it was
Yeah,
true, and I had to do it. So, those are the things that we're missing in a large part. We do have some great fathers, but we just don't have enough. Highly encourage our alumni um, to mentor, come back and mentor a young men, and we could go down to fifth grade. Those little boys need us more than the high schoolers because they're growing into who they're becoming, and we can really stop some of that mess if we get them earlier from them going down the wrong path. And that's why we big on exposure opportunities and providing mechanisms for our young men. We have a group called Kings on a Mission, which is a mentoring group, which we have different people come in and speak to them and model, and do different activities with these young boys. Because again, we grew up with Stanley Miller, Darnell Robinson, and
mhm,
all these guys. They're not here no more. So we got to go pull, professional people, working people, um, car mechanics. We bring everybody in to talk to these young men because they can do anything and be anything. They just got to know it's possible. So I
right.
just say, I really would love to talk to you
Okay.
on how you can help us here. I have some great ideas, and I think that it would be greatly beneficial to our people as individuals, but to our school district and our community if I can help and use your resources and your knowledge and wisdom to help more men become what we need and be able to give back and continue to grow this pipeline of outstanding young men coming from this community and young ladies too.
With that, that's gonna be the ice on the cake right there. Because that right there, we're gonna end it on that because I'm gonna definitely be in touch with you. My I'm gonna talk to you via phone or email, but
Okay.
my intentions is to try to get down there soon. Because I would rather talk to you face to face too, and then see what the plan is. I know you got some great things going on because my homie down there doing great things with you, Michelle Vassar. So I know she'll be excited if she knows that I'm trying to come and be part of the culture because I know I'm very proud of what I do, where I come from. We all hang out down here in Atlanta together, and so for me, I've always been trying to figure out how can I give back, to my city, and so that's another reason why I wanted to talk to you too, is let me figure out how I can give back. And if we could do some consulting work or just whatever it is, we come down there and speak to some of the guys, we gonna figure it out. We're gonna make it happen too.
100%. I look forward to it. Also, that alumni roar coming up Memorial Day. Hope you
I
can make
got you.
it.
I'm coming.
I hope
I'm
you can
coming
make
this
it
year.
to it. We had a good time last year.
It's funny because I didn't come last year, and then afterwards, Toya called me because she didn't make it either, and so she said we're coming next year, Kevin. Now she in North Carolina. She was like, "We're coming next year," so I will be there.
Okay, I look forward to it. We had a ball last year, and they planning it now, so it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be bigger and better this year. So, looking
Okay.
forward to it. But we'll talk definitely before then. Let's get together. Put something on the calendar and move forward.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
you,
you,
big
sir.
dog.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you again for a great episode of Conversations with Coach Kevin. I hope this interview has inspired you, educated you, empowered you to be the best version of yourselves. Sh- Share this, like this, and hit the notification buttons if you like the show and like to continue to see shows like this. Share this with the men that you love, the fathers, your sons, your nephews, your friends. Let them see this. Let them be inspired by what we talked about today, knowing that they could do anything that is put into their spirit to do so. With that being said, see you till next time. Peace.